It's a Friday. The girls are fighting. And we're here for another edition of Anytime with Ken and Alden. I'm Ken Like that is Alden Diaz. Welcome to Friday, buddy.
Hello, everybody. Divorce! Betrayal! Oh my god, Ken indulging in a bit of the devil's lettuce there?
That's prop.
True. It is a prop. Yeah. You're a good Christian boy who would never do such a thing.
I've never smoked a cigarette of any kind, Alden. I encourage drinking.
I smoked my first cigarette in Japan this year.
Really?
Just for the aesthetic. Yeah, I bought a pack of cigarettes, went and stood next to some old men at a bike stop, lit one up,
Okay.
Did not enjoy it. But, you know, can't smoke the good stuff over there, so you gotta do something.
My voice acting coach one day was like, hey, you know, a tip is grab a prop around you. And I got this. So I put it in here and I did a segment. He goes, do you realize how much that changes you? In a good way. He's like, you holding that prop cigarette transforms you into a different person who gets out of your body and acts better. So that's why this is on every podcast. It's
Smoker
just,
Ken
it's
has
stupid.
more
You can
talent.
make fun of me, but it translates in my brain into me being a different person. And I need that.
I like that for you. I like it. Very, very excited to see what Cigarette Ken has to say about our topic today. Looking here through the comments, everybody's here. Michael McCarcel, Will McLean, Eli, David Mackay, Brady, Osvetnik, Eli, producer Steve, Craft Jedi, Coop, Tully, Jared.
Okay.
Everybody lined up because
Okay.
these are a bunch of petty, catty people watching the show.
Coop says the girls are fighting. Who taught him that phrase? I heard AOC say it. Yes. I used to not like AOC. I don't like the squad.
Sure.
I don't
Sure.
like the squad. I like
Sure.
AOC because she's grown up.
Yeah,
So
but
I
you
do
need
watch
but,
her.
but you need the squad, and you know that.
I don't know.
You know, like
Do
right
I?
now
Do
you're
I?
being a Yavin rebel. You're like, oh, we don't like the way that they do it.
Yeah, because I can't even name the other squad members.
It's a kind of like the Avengers. It's kind of like a moving roster.
Okay.
Like it's you know.
All right.
There's,
Let's not
there's
fight like we're
core
the
people.
my pay idiot rebels.
No, the MyPay. What are they? MyPay's a sectorist, a galaxy partitionist. Someone tell me in the comments. I can't remember.
Galaxy partitioners.
Human cultists.
Human cultists.
Look, again, we're already in the Star Wars thing 3 minutes in. Sometimes we can't avoid it. There is no better new Star Wars meme than the Saw Gerrera, you have no idea where I am. That is unbelievably
Oh, yeah, that's
funny.
great.
What a funny meme.
I need to rewatch that scene. I'm finishing the final episode, doing a slow rewatch because I'm also watching American Manhunt, the O.J. Simpson one right now, which is fantastic. And I rewatched Turning Point: The Bomb in the Cold War. I'm just on my divorced dad, middle-aged doc.
Bin Laden.
The Bin Laden one is fucking great. It made me want to vote for Bush again. It made me. It just was so fucking great.
Ken was walking around the house saying, "Terrorizers."
Now watch this drive.
Now watch this drive is unironically one of the funniest things that a politician has ever done.
I was talking about it with two of my friends last Friday night, both very liberal, where I'm at now too. And we're both like, you have to admit that's the coolest fucking thing in the world.
No, it's pretty funny. It's pretty awesome.
Anyway,
oh man,
I don't even know where I was going. But that Saw Gerrera meme is so great. I'll tell you why, because I need to rewatch it again. But like. He knows they know. It's like when you to go to a kid. Did you take that cookie? I didn't take no cookie. You took the cookie. Crumbs fall off the face. You don't know that I took a cookie.
And it's literally like that. You get the comedy too of like the rebel intelligence Draven being like, yeah, we've been tracking him for like a year. We know exactly where he is. But it's he
doesn't even say it's Draven when he's got his head down. I've been in so many meetings with cops and stuff where they do this and just go like. Yeah, no, it's true. They put their head down.
It's like call coming from Jeddah City, and he still denies it. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Anyways, no Star Wars talk all through the show unless we want to, because it's our fucking show.
Or unless you pay us money. I like what I did a few weeks ago where I said I'll only do Andor questions for $5 or more.
Yeah.
That stands. There is a tariff on Star Wars talk here because you get so much free Star Wars talk from Force Center all the time.
Yeah.
For the nice price of really no money, unless you are a Force Center Patreon member, which you should be. But yeah, so that's my plug for your Patreon.
Anyways,
you should do it.
Life is a work. Life is a work. Alden, there you go. I'm just gonna do the rest of the show like that.
Life is a work. I think
these shirts are still available on my TeePublic. I should move over to fourth wall.
Team Zoc.
Where do you want to go? How do we want to do? We did not talk.
No.
About how to do this.
So I, as I have been doing, wrote down stuff throughout the week. Let's flip it. Normally we do like big story and then we knock some out at the end. Let's knock some out and make people wait.
Reverse it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, I'm so proud of you. That is so not a song that I thought that young Ken would have been dancing to.
I didn't, but I'm
Is
aware.
It worth it? Let me wear. Was it playing like in the mall while you're trying to
I just knew that.
Catch some thief.
I know Sabrina Carpenter released a new video today in her shorty shorts. I'm on it, Alden. I'm hip.
Well, I expected. Well done. That's a good reference. I expect everybody to be down with the new Sabrina Carpenter song because I went from being lukewarm on her to being like, no, she's cool, and in a very short amount of time.
Well, okay. What switched it? And you can't answer the shorty shorts, you thirsty little heathen.
Was not the shorty shorts. It was before the shorty shorts. Is that I mean, like, look, I'm not what am I, corpse? It's like, of course, it's like the sexual reality.
She's a pretty lady. She's pretty human.
Lady. Pretty human in my peer group, you know, like we're around the same age, like
Oh, that was a veil. Okay, I get what you're saying to me.
Well, I'm just saying there's a more of a reason. And but what really got me is that I realized that she is unironically very funny, and that slowly built up over time.
Okay.
But then it was like the self-awareness, and it's like it's not like she's putting on as much of a character as some other people do. It's not like a Gaga or like a Chapel situation.
Sure.
But the Sabrina Carpenter persona that she's made for this current era that made her huge, of like the hypersexualized thing, like it is a bit. And I realized that more and more as she started to do stuff like her Grammys performance, which had a lot of vaudeville and slapstick, and she came out into like a costume change, and her set fell apart, and the sparks on stage. Like I realized, like, oh, you're doing like an old Hollywood thing, but now, and like somebody made a really good point about her. I wish I could credit them. It was some viral tweet that was like how she manages to go on stage and mime like blowing people and all these positions and wearing lingerie, and it still feels like it's for girls and not for men. And that's like a very impressive line to walk.
Power. I agree with that. I've always had a take it or leave it approach, but like in a positive way. Like I'm so supportive of this pop diva era we're in right now. Your duas, your chapels, whatever you want to say, your last dinner parties, whatever. That's a rock band. Yeah, okay, I'm on board. I'm on board. I hear what you're saying. There comes those moments where an artist can step beyond what you perceive them to be in pop culture to unveil the real artists that they are.
Absolutely. Speaking of real artists, real people that we both really like, I had written down a lot of things. I'm just going to preface this. A lot of things that I wrote down are pretty dark because I tried to be a little bit more plugged in this week. And then in my attempt to be more plugged in this week, I would say we were all very rewarded with what'll be the main story. So, well, we're going to end on a lot of fun, a lot of shit talk, but there are some things I want to address. But this one's not that serious. So first thing, Mark Maron ending WTF. That's pretty big as like a podcast pioneer, as one of the only people fighting the good fight with his size of platform. Did not expect that, and I love that his reasoning was, I'm burnt out. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Love it. Love the show. But see, this thing, I haven't listened regularly. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts anymore. But I used to listen to Maron all the time. I've been around Maron. I've not spoken to him directly, to be clear, because he's very unapproachable. but I mean that in a very respectful way. I love Mark Maron. He is a known grump. It is real. His curmudge is honest and true. And I respect the game. Game recognizes game. But I'm not surprised by this in a way. The only thing weird, he had signed a big deal. I don't think a lot of people realize he signed a big deal with Acast, which is the company that recruited Force Center. And one of the things when they recruited us, they were like, "Hey, we're building, we're getting bigger, we're going to compete with Spotify," and we fell for it. Anyway, still a good company, but we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." I think all their ad staff is cut off. We haven't had a meeting with our rep in 3 years. Like it's just one of those things. But they signed Maron. And so I just wonder what the status of that is, what that means for that company. But I really respect Mark just going, yeah, I had a very dramatic loss, very traumatic, painful loss in my life. I do stand up still. That's his first love always. And there's other things to do. I'm watching him right now on a okay show with Owen Wilson called Stick on Apple TV. He's a good actor. I like it. Move on.
Yeah, I'm down with it. This is not an original thought, but I've said for a while that if they ever do like a Stan Lee like biopic, Mark Maron would be a great Stan Lee. He just gives off that vibe, and he kind of hit that aesthetic and Glow back when they did Glow.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Everything like, not that he needs our best wishes, but I mean, you see him at the store, tell him I said best wishes. While you're waiting for the bathroom. I hope that here's what
you do. If you try to talk to Maron, he's always there. I'll make eye contact sometimes. The only time I've communicated with Mark is I was sitting in the Mitzi Shore seats in the original room, and he comes off stage and he walks up to me and goes, "Hey man, good to see you. It's been a while. Oh shit, I thought you were Segura. I'm sorry." And he like walks on. That's the only time I've actually communicated with him.
Segura, man, like it's kind of freaky, dude. It's kind of freaky. Like we've talked about this before, but like. He could be like your Wario. I don't know if that reference lands for you at all, but like he is like such a dark timeline mirror universe. It's so strange.
So but yeah, it's a dealer's choice. You could walk up and go, "Hey, Mark, congratulations on ending the show," and he might go, "Thanks, man," or he might just go, "What?" and like walk on. And I want to say this because I'm such a fan of his, and I just admire him that I really respect that he stays true to himself even in public.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's good. There's being authentic and short does not necessarily mean rude. Sometimes they're just short.
He's not. He's there to do work. He's there to. He doesn't. He's. Anyways,
absolutely.
Okay. Good job.
Okay, so dark stories time. Just putting that out there. A little disclaimer. The vibe is going to be bad for a minute. There's just some things I feel obligated as broadcasters that we should cover. And the first one is the murder of Jonathan Joss, which has been in the news. An actor, of course, perhaps best known for King of the Hill and Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec. I actually know him in Parks and Rec first because I wasn't really a King of the Hill guy.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I was just probably too young to have tuned into it and understood the funny. I didn't understand that it was a satire until I was older, and then I finally was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing.
Yes.
But he played Ken Hotate in Parks, who has one of the best lines ever, which is if there's two things I know about white people, they love Matchbox 20 and they are terrified of curses. And those are true. And Jonathan Joss was murdered in a homophobic and transphobic, in regards to his husband, hate crime that is gnarly and dark and deeply disturbing to read about. It involves the murder of a pet. It involves arson. It involves threats and all this stuff. And police department initially didn't want to rule it a hate crime. And in a rare we were wrong moment for police in this country, they've now released a statement walking that back and saying we acted too soon in that classification, and we didn't have all the evidence that we needed, and because it clearly was. The husband released a statement, and it's like, I don't have something I can say that's like revelatory, or there's something that we can say that's like anything unique, like, yeah, we shouldn't do that. It's such like a basic thing. Like this should, we need justice, but like it just, it first day of Pride Month, this happened. It's it absolutely targeted, and it is a devastating loss on the levels of him being indigenous and on what that means for their communities and what it meant for representation, of course, but just like to know that it happened in that way and that it was being ignored, that this guy is now out on bail. And because the Texas laws are just like that, I guess. Like, yeah, like you the only way that can get stopped is if it's a capital crime in Texas. And I don't know. I don't pretend to understand that, but I wanted to acknowledge it. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it, but it's dark and grim and
horrific. I'm glad the police did that. I'll be honest and say that's kind of normal to start. You make sure you get all the facts. I don't think they should have gone to the press early, and maybe that's what was. I didn't read the full statement. I only saw the headline of what you're talking about, so I'm glad they did walk it back, like you said. It's disturbing, and you talk about Pride Month, and the history of Pride Month is tied to the Stonewall riots, right, in 1969, which comes from a dark place, and we've I think turned it into a hopefully a period of recognition and hope and joy, but it comes from a lot of pain and it comes from a lot of bravery to stand up and have any kind of pride of who you are, and it seems like Jonathan and his husband had I just reading the tale, the burning of the house, the dogs, everything. It it just breaks my heart, even before we get to this, and then you get to this, and it is just horrific. And I do hope whatever justice is, whatever peace could be found, is found. But that's not going to go away from anyone's soul for a while, and it should be. I am glad there has been an outpouring of discussed, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad it's being covered and it's not being, the people are being allowed to react to it. And how horrific it is beyond just, it's just shouldn't have happened. Just shouldn't have happened. There's so much things behind it, and it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, and and it's like you don't want to choose. I struggle sometimes with you don't want to make someone's death about larger issues and fall into the trap of segueing into that, but it's hard to not look at something like this with everything that had been reported and the calls that were ignored and the incidents that were ignored and all this stuff. Then it ends in a murder, and it's like in this country somehow we have to debate whether or not it's a hate crime, and it will never be classified as terrorism, but tag up a Tesla terrorism. And it's the state of affairs is such a parody at this point that it adds a layer of just disrespect to it that is sad. So I mean, all of our love to Joss's family and the husband and just the whole thing. They just felt necessary to talk about it for a minute, but
and the fans he represented in many different areas. I think you're right to point out how it's it's multi-layered in its effect, right? And hopefully it just affects people on a human level. I hope. I don't know.
Yeah. Because when I'm far be it from me to be explaining this to people. I'm not an expert, but the cross section of queer culture and indigenous culture is so key and so important, because those cultures that go back way before any of the cultures that are currently dominating, that go back way before the existence of America, have always moved in and out of the gender binary and have individuals that represent all these different things and have two-spirit individuals and trans people. And that's always been there, regardless of what the propaganda machine likes to talk about of it got invented in the 2020s. So it's important. But moving from sadness to anger, I have 3 notes here that begin with fuck. And the first one is fuck Matthew Miller, the now ex spokesperson, because he was spokesperson under Biden, who now goes on a podcast and says that he believes Israel's committing war crimes, and then is asked then why did you deny it? And he pulled well, that's the job defense, and it's that guy needs to be at the Hague. That's my take on that. Fuck Ruben Gallego, who's trying to drum up enough support to maybe be the Dem nominee in 2028. Similar to Gavin, he decided to throw trans people under the bus to try and achieve that. And I think that any Democrat that's not running or intending to run on inclusivity with trans folks, wisely, Tim Walz has already drawn that line. And secondary, probably abolishing ICE. You're a fool and you don't deserve the nomination. And then the third thing, and once I finish the third one, Ken, you can jump in anywhere. Fuck Pete Hegseth and everybody that's trying to rename all of these ships. Not that I really care about the ships in and of themselves, but it's just like it's such obvious homophobia and such obvious racism, and so Harvey Milk can't have a ship, Harriet Tubman can't have a ship, Sojourner Truth can't have a ship. Like, what, because of warrior culture? It's just like, brother, your warrior culture is getting drunk and beating your wife. Like, that's your warrior culture. Like, you are absolute garbage.
And dropping secrets.
Yeah, dropping secrets. Yeah, your warrior culture is like having shitty group chat game. Yeah. Like, what reality is it? So fuck all these people indiscriminately across party lines. You know, for anyone that's ever been like, you guys are biased. You're right. We are not biased here on Anytime. We hate all idiots.
All idiots. The Hexeth. I always say it's wrong because, again, there was a major league pitcher named Joe Hesketh. So Hexeth is just it's beyond parody, which unfortunately it's reality because they're in power. Yeah, and you know, Harvey Milk being in the Navy, like it's just that culture.
And it's not like Harvey Milk didn't serve either. It's like, you know,
Hexeth. That's a good way of saying it. Sith. And as Jared points out during Pride Month, and that's part of the game. That's part of the game. And I do think that kind of stuff combines with what you saw in the murder of Jonathan Joss. I do think that combines. It is a form of permission, right? It's a permission structure. And so when you have, you know, the Secretary of Leaks up there renaming ships because, you know, warrior culture during Pride Month, you're going to have someone, you know, who doesn't like his neighbor do something like that. You know, you could draw a line to me, but it's not always a straight line. But it's
for sure.
Maybe it's a circle.
Yeah. No, you're right. Especially because it's like we noted with Jonathan Joss and indigenous culture and how important that is historically. It is, you know, removing Harvey Milk from military history helps them act like this is just some new queer thing that's happening, and this new queer brainwashing, this new woke mind virus, you know, like by acting like it wasn't there, you know, like there's those two strategies. One, we try to like erase to act like it's this brand new thing we have to defeat, and then when we can't really do that, such as with like Black civil rights, it's like then we have to put those photos in black and white so it seems long ago. We need to remove the longevity either way, or remove the consistency, the frame of mind. It's all about like placement and propaganda, and it's like, you know, Harvey Milk was 100 times the man that Hexeth has ever been, and that's and it's like, and he hates that somebody who led a different lifestyle could ever leave an impact on history. But it's like he is like a lot of the people we're gonna mention as we move into the main story, just a glorified bootlicking attention whore who's not qualified for the job that he has, and he knows that, and so he needs to try to erase and see. These are like classic, like seem like you're doing something things, and we've all had those coworkers where it's like, what are you doing? I'm rearranging. It's like,
I mean, what? Look, that was me sometimes managing my fantasy baseball team.
In the Collider office, I'm drafting.
No, well, I'm talking about it. Even when I was in the public safety office. No, the Collider office was worse. One day I got up to leave to go to Screen Junkies, and my boss was like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "I'm going to Screen Junkies." He's like, "But I'm paying you to work here." I was like, "All right," and I just left.
So, amazing.
Which is always, I'm saying that as I was a bad boy. No wonder they cut me first. As far as the other things, like, I think what you're seeing there is what you're showing me, and I mean this in a good way. There's been a generational shift in what you're willing to accept in terms of party lines, and I think a lot of what you're seeing there, the positioning is classic. It's the politicky side of politics, but I'd like seeing, as we move forward, the younger folks. This is why I want younger folks to run. The clip last night of Kate Abu-Ghazaleh on CNN, I think it was, with Scott Jennings, Republican, right? Scott Jennings. He looked like an asshole. But just the conversation over should illegals get medical care or Medicaid, and her answer is it's not even a question. You know, I'm paraphrasing, and he kind of taken the stereotypical approach. Like, you're going to see more of that exists, and I think once anyone can turn anyone, anyone trying to position themselves for president, who's trying to look at polls, who tries to look at and trying to play the science game. You got to look at something like that. That's someone being pure and morally correct, including someone like Tim Walz. I saw his statement this week too. Yeah. That's just more right now, and I think there's going to be a bump. I think we're in a bumpy transition period, unfortunately. And hopefully some folks start to get it, and hopefully the younger generation, as they take over, just be like, yeah, no, it's not a question. Even if they're 100% illegally in our country, if they get hurt and go to the hospital, we as humans should take care of them, right? Like that should not be that should not be a surprise or anything that's controversial. And where there's in the past, there's the standard is, well, who's going to pay for it? Like, who gives a fuck? Yeah. We'll figure that out. And
that
money.
Was
encouraging. Yeah,
we have the money. We know we do.
Take it out of your defense budget. Yeah,
we're not stupid. Yeah, there is that. Yeah, it's the change of like, we're not stupid. Abu Ghazaleh will come up again. So we move into the Elon stuff, because in that same interview segment, they, smugly like, you wouldn't take Elon's money. You wouldn't take Elon's money, because again, they have a cat fight that lasts 36 hours, and we're already trying to welcome him back into the Dem ranks of like, well, how could he fit into our plan as we move into the? He can't. He can't fit into the plan. He's a Nazi. Just because a Nazi and a pedophile get into a fight, and I like seeing them destroy each other, it doesn't mean that I suddenly want one. Like, it's like, that's the Democratic mentality, though, right? Like, that's what lost them the last election, is that they looked at Tim Walz and they were like, thanks, bud. We're going to go hang out with the Cheneys. Like, they will do that until they are destroyed.
It did. I disagree in principle with all of you on that in some ways, where I'm like, you guys got to get out in the real world and function. I'm not talking to you. I just like, it drives me a little crazy. Sure. Like, I have to talk to Republicans. I'm friends with cops. I've put my knee on people as I arrested them. You've got Big Ten. But to my other point, you're right about that. I'm not, by the way, I'm not taking Elon back. I don't even know if he was with us. It's just, I personally want to find the right way forward. Because I have it too. Like I said, like, I'm not joking. I don't like the members of the squad. I'm not joking. That's not a thing. I do not like them. But because I don't think they're effective. Because my parents aren't going to. How do you get to my parents is my baseline. Sure. And that's what I struggle with. That's why it's not even a give and take with us. I'm trying to. I'm asking. Yeah. Like, what's the best way forward?
What is the best counter to you? Mm-hmm. It's not even a counter. It's just
It's a part of the conversation that I want to hear.
It's a part of the conversation. It's just like, I don't want to discount your parents or anyone in their demo. My mentality, though, is just like, if we could just do these things, we wouldn't need them. Because so far, everybody...
I get that. Yeah.
So far, everybody governs in a way that discounts all of us and is happy to throw all these communities under the bus whenever they lose. Right. And so it's like, if you galvanized the youth that has won you things, that won you 08, if you galvanize them, why would we need to worry about what's happening in Pismo Beach? No disrespect to the great Pismo Beach.
Yeah. No, but Royal Grande, technically. Yeah, no, but I'm part of the generational change too. And I'm admitting that. Yeah. That's why I get a little ruffled. Like, I've given money to Kat, but she also says some things where I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work. So I'm trying to own my place in that. I'm trying to own my place in that. It's unsure ground for me. It's don't have stable footing on it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, let's start this bad boy then properly, as we've started to get into it and taken a few pre-shots now. This is without a doubt a joy. This is wonderful. This is and look, I saw, I as a fellow son of Connecticut, I saw Senator Murphy out there like, no one's going to give a shit. This is Blue Sky post. This is how I read his Blue Sky. No one's going to give a shit about this because they ain't healthcare. Chris, just let us have it, man. Like, I think it's important to be like, because there's a lot of people like, well, you guys are going to look real silly when they make up next week. And I don't care. Like, I got to tell you, I don't care. Like, you're probably right. Is some of it bullshit? Maybe. Is some of it like
maybe?
But it's like, that to me is irrelevant to the fact that the schadenfreude that people feel, the satisfaction that people feel watching the leopards do what leopards do, like, all of that really not, I'm not gonna say it matters, but there's a morale boost that is undeniably necessary as we end up now in June and nothing has gone right. To see them try to destroy each other, even if for 48 hours, I like that. And I'm not above liking it. No, yeah, it's not affecting policy, but if we can, as we've talked about on the show, if we can gum up the works with anything,
Yes.
we can slow them down with anything. And if they want to do them to themselves, I will take that. I will take that. And if it's funny, even better. And so
it's a frosting on the cake.
So this starts with Elon. His what is he, a special appointee? Whatever job he technically had.
Yeah, whatever clearance he had.
Yeah, the limited time job, but it's like a 120-day run ended, and he had already sort of been moved away from the public facing element. And part of that is because of Tesla takedown, which was undeniably working and is still working, as shares plummeted when the girls are fighting began.
They dropped,
so it's like it's not helping him. This is obviously, from his point of view, a desperation move to regain good PR. It seems like this is a Hail Mary of trying to, like, oh well, if I go against the evil, then they'll like my cars again. And all right, so there had been a steady build of things. He gets moved away from the public. He's tripping on ketamine all the time. That dude is
constantly.
That dude is high as a kite. And if
she's so high,
and normally respect it, whatever, man. But
yes,
he's tripping balls. He's getting into fights and then blaming his toddler, saying his toddler hit him. But we know that he got into a scuffle with the Treasury Secretary because Bannon the leaker has been throwing everything out that he can to destroy him. So he's getting into fights. He's high. Shares are plummeting. So he decides he's going to go after the budget. He's going to go after the spending bill. And he's going to go after the big beautiful bill, as it's been called by the GOP. And he says that it's full of pork, that it's disgusting, that robbing the American people isn't going to help, and blah blah. He just starts destroying it. Then Trump responds on television with the whole, he has Trump derangement syndrome, and people leave the administration and they get very angry and like all this stuff, and it starts to bubble and bubble and bubble. They're tweeting each other, not tagging, they're subtweeting. They're acting like Star Wars Twitter out here. They're acting like they want to talk shit about, and they're going at it like they write for Collider. And then suddenly Elon decides that he's going to go 0 to 100 straight into "you're a pedophile," which objectively, of course, evil. And I'm not saying that is funny. I'm putting a big caveat on that. But the fact that Elon Musk did it in this way is funny. And
it's funny.
And it's like, because it's one of those things where it's like, you're telling me Donald Trump, adjudicated, in court rapist, Donald Trump, it was on the rape list. You're telling me that? Shock. But the fact that Elon said it is pretty great. Because what can Donald say? Like, oh, I'll release it and prove you wrong. Like, no, you won't. So Elon, in a rare moment of having someone in checkmate, then Donald responds by saying, we should, I'm surprised Biden didn't get rid of all your contracts and stuff,
that was
like all that. Like we should do that. We could save billions. Then Elon be like, all right, well then I'll cancel the dragon, whatever so it just ends up in this whole thing. And in that, extra comedy comes from all of the right-wing glazers, all of these people who have no soul, no personality, except to swallow Nazi penis and to just be like, hey, guys, this is what it looks like when two alphas, this is what it looks like when two high agency males clash. The high agency males is next level. That is so good.
Who's the fucker that said that? Jack? What's his fuck?
Jack starts with a P. Pacific. I don't know. I don't know their names because I have too much dignity than to do the deep dive on them. But he's doing that. Then there's another one that's like, this is what it looks like when two of the guys with the biggest balls work out a problem. You could all learn something from this. That was some other guy. Then you have Loomer tweeting Elon saying, please say something nice about President Trump. Like, they're losing their minds. And then JD,
yeah.
JD sitting on his hands all day, and then the best he
Mhm.
comes up with is that he stands with Donald. Great, wonderful. Elon also called for him to be impeached, which was another hilarious part of it.
Yeah.
Saying that he should be impeached and Vance should be president. It's pretty phenomenal. The whole situation is pretty funny.
Yeah, Anna Paulina Luna. Can we just get back to the bromance kind of Kanye?
Kanye.
Putting something out there. Yeah, man. Yeah. Look, I don't know. Where do you want to dive in on this? This is fantastic.
So you and I texted each other at the same time, and we were both just laughing, having a good time. What was your intake of this, and where do you stand normally when people like start fighting in this way? And why is this one so funny?
I usually ignore it, but I just it's a high stakes one. I do believe we should have some joy and humor in it. I absolutely think so, and it's the anytime multiple truths kind of thing. You can hold these truths. Yeah, there's a lot of things, and this won't necessarily fix anything. I don't think it's going to lead to any. Elon's not going to suddenly go, I fixed the election and here's how. Like I don't think that's going to come out of this. As far as it being a work, that's why more of my life is a work shirt, which I again still think I sell in my TeePublic shop. I don't know, buy them if you want. Obviously I come from the pro wrestling world. You're a fan of wrestling, a lot of people in chat are like it has the vibes of a shoot turn to or a work shoot turn to a shoot and everything, meaning like I don't follow the conspiracy theory trail because that leads to problematic things, but also when there's some the whole tariff flip-flops and the people making money off of it, like is that some kind of high stakes work? I could get behind that idea. I don't have the facts in front of me, and that's when conspiracies emerge. We don't fully understand. So I'm not my initial reaction was a little bit of like, there's some kind of fake behind this. But I think once you get to the pedo claim, and I think I'm not the Steve Hofstetter posted that this morning. I think you've said it. Like once you get to that, at what point, Vince McMahon's the only person I've known who's said, call me anything you want in the ring so we can make money together. And he's a psycho. Like now Trump's a psycho too, but I can't imagine that vain man. And as a vain man himself, I am very fucking vain. I cannot imagine agreeing to have that, especially if it's a truth, put out there. But so I'm enjoying the ride, Alden. I don't know where it leads, but I'm enjoying the ride because this was going to happen. And these aren't the only two. Clearly, Stephen Miller's punching him.
Steve Miller's getting in a fight because he's allegedly banging Stephen Miller's wife. There's all, Bannon now wants him investigated and wants him deported because he desperately wants to be back in, which is very funny. And to your point, in the words of the formerly great Terry Bollea, better known as Hogan, Hulk. Good night, Hulkamaniacs and jabroni marks without a life that don't know it's a work when you work a work and work yourself into a shoot. Marks, the greatest tweet maybe of all time. That's where we're at.
Yeah, well, and I, not saying anything that no one can access with hours of fucking shoot interviews or Chris Van Fleet digging into like the wrestling business is so exposed. But what it is, the wrestling business and stand-up comedy are two of the most fragile ego tense around. And so what that Hogan thing, what's so true about wrestling is everyone's working everyone in the locker room. Everyone, it's constant. It's a battle of egos. And so I think that applies here. I really do think it applies here where it's so textbook. Like it's insane that like, and I agree. I'm one of those people that I don't think it's cynical to say that this starts with Tesla shareholders or top dogs going, it's time to get Elon out and maybe making moves on that as everything's just going downhill. And he has an ego, even through his ketamine drenched brain. He has an ego. He's vain, clearly wants to feel like he belongs. And I think he's smart enough to know this is bad. So that slow rollback. Oh, my time's done. My time's done. To explode into this, I hope more of it happens. I want there to be bigger sides. I want this to go on for 2 more weeks. Again, end result, I don't think it's going to be anything where Trump's taken out of the White House and handcuffed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's happening.
No.
But
the best possible outcome, I was talking to my friend Reed, and we were just going down like realistic outcomes that could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I could see this actually affecting Donald is if Elon decided in his ketamine infused rage that he wanted to pay people off to invoke the 25th. Like he has that level of influence, I think. Not enough influence to like get the law on him or anything, because it's like, as we know, he could just say he molested those kids on official business and then he's immune. But it's just like, if you actually just get this guy out, because Vance is easy to control, right? And that's who Peter Thiel and all those guys want in there anyway. Is a little puppet with no personality. Because Vance does not have the juice. That's the thing. Vance does not have the juice to control the cult.
Do you like the juice?
But Vance, someone clip that out, please. But Vance has the ability to be whatever they want him to be in a way that Donald doesn't. There's different kinds of evil, different threats. I know people have different opinions on what would be better. But I agree here with this conversation thread that's happening here. Ken Plume came in. Thank you, Plume. You could have spent this $5 on an Andor question, but I respect that you chose to contribute to the conversation. The policy key that needs to be embraced is focus on delivering positive change alongside messaging it to move a ball, not just opine on it. Yeah, I mean, that for sure. Absolutely. And then
what's opine mean? I don't know what opine mean.
That's a $5 word. You're absolutely right. Chuck Schumer's tweet, play Taylor Swift's Bad Blood, thinks he's so damn funny, does nothing. Yeah, that Schumer tweeting a Taylor Swift joke or his team, those people need to be fired.
Let's put out a Taylor Swift joke. It's a popular musician.
Well, she has all the rights to her songs back. I saw
she bought them
Variety.
Does she have any songs about breakups? Bad Blood. Let's put Bad Blood out there. It'll be hilarious.
Chuck, come on the show just so we can roast you. And then producer Steve, Eli, agree. Dems taking victory laps. Irks me, shut up and do something, literally anything. Subpoenas, flooding the courts. Yeah, there should be calls for hearings. There should be the 25th talk. There should be going crazy about the fact that, because the Republicans gleefully, happily, every single day talk about how the Democrats are corrupting your kids, turning them gay, making them commies, blah, 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 blah. The Democrats have the richest man in the world outright saying that the president of the United States is a sex criminal, and they won't even point at it. They won't use it. They won't bring it up. Why do they insist on not even knives to a gunfight? They bring balloon swords to a Gatling gun fight. Like, it is just insane the level that they don't want to get into the mud at all. And it's like that's that's the whle thing. Like, that's why.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to see it play out. They when the executive order this week was to investigate Biden and his handlers on hiding how his decline was, and so to sling it back. I still think that translates a little bit to it's a win for the uninformed both sidesers, but who cares at this point? I don't feel there'll be a giant smoking gun, but I am one of the things I'm enjoying when I talk about, that's why I bring up my folks or bring up people of what my baseline is like what happens when that stuff reaches, because some of the people in my life have very positive views of Elon, but their views ended from what they heard. And most of those things are about what he might have been at one point. A very smart guy building tunnels and cars and trying to save kids trapped in wells and all those things. So one of the last conversations I had with my folks over it was like, well, he bought Twitter to save free speech. They that's all they know on that. That they stop there. So what happens when some of these truths come out? And if Elon can deliver some of these truths, whether or not, again, I don't think you're going to get any more on the Epstein files or him walking out in cuffs. It'd be great. It'd be the greatest day in history next to his eventual moving on, we'll say, for YouTube and anyone.
His future endeavors.
We wish you well in your future endeavors in the afterlife. But so it's. I'm sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but I saw Dan what's his name? Dan Bongino, that wrinkled testicle head who now has a number 2 in FBI. There's people in my life too, not directly related to me, who, when he got named, were like, we're so proud that a real American worked his way up to help his country and get this job, right? That's scary shit. But I watched that clip of him going, basically saying, yeah, no, Epstein killed himself. I've seen it. And if you all have any more information, I'm all ears. But I've seen it. He killed himself. Like, no one goes in or out. No one. So unless it was a ghost, right? Like, so it's fascinating to watch him, who was out there, we're going to get the truth. We're going to get the truth. Now you get the truth. And people still on that side aren't going to accept it. So will any acceptance of new truths emerge from this is my biggest question of the flame out, as the girls say.
And probably not. Like that, I said this on Blue Sky, and it seemed like a joke. But
Dave McKay. So they haven't ruled out ghosts.
They haven't ruled out. Yeah, no, for sure. Like I was saying this, like, your most annoying relatives are about to achieve gold medals in mental gymnastics tonight.
I saw your post. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And I have a friend, his business, I'm not gonna name him and everything because it's a burden to have these people in your family. But he was like, I have some people in my family that are MAGA by way of Elon, not by way of Donald, and I don't know how they're going to respond to this. And it's like, like what does a fan of these guys say? When it's like okay, so one of your boys just said your other boy's a pedophile. Do you have thoughts on that? Are you going to deny that he said it? Or are you going to run interference for both and be like, this is how guys joke around? Well, guess what, motherfucker? I can tell you, this is not how guys joke around. This is we just had it. With the music industry just did it a year-long war with this same shit, and it was awesome. But it's like it was not a joke. Drake is a creep. Donald Trump is a creep. Elon's probably also a creep. Let us, whether it's children or not, like we've heard the rumblings come out of Tesla, all the people that he's settled with and all the stuff that's happened, all the complaints, these are all creeps. And it's like, I don't understand at what point, it's that post-fact shit, right? It's like, we go all the way back to Kellyanne Conway with the alternative facts. Like that was to borrow a Star Wars term, that was like the shatter point, like in this whole shit. Like the fact that we didn't stop it there, that she wasn't flamed and run out of town for that, the fact that she was still booked on TV after that will go down as a huge turning point, because now we can say to somebody that is in this cult, like, hey, this is what one of your leaders is saying about the other, and this is the other leader's responses, saying that his contracts are robbing you. It's like, he's a pedophile. He's robbing you. He's this. He's that. He's on drugs. He's this. And they will look you dead in the eye and be like, that didn't happen. That wasn't said. And it's like, it brings me back to the Flat Earther doc that you recommended to me, which is just like, again, still so just like deeply disturbing. Like there's a reason why there's so much crossover. There's like the critical thinking's in the toilet, and then, it ties in with so many other things, like the fact that so many kids now are turning in like Chat GPT essays, and like just like it's gonna get so bad over the next few years. And I don't not to take it to like a doomer place, but it's just like, I don't know, man.
The next generation.
That's
what we see.
That's me specifically.
That's what, and again, even if they prove the assassination attempt was completely fake, all of them, this and that, I don't know if they'll believe. And part of that is because it's all, the common folk thinks it's all theater. They don't care who sits on the throne. They want long summers. And that's the darker side of what's going on. But on the surface, it's also just absolutely fucking hilarious to watch these clowns clown each other, as we thought, and Mike Johnson getting into it, and this and then the bill. And my only hope, I always talk about permission structure. If Elon starts coming out and saying the big beautiful bill is bad and this and that are others going to do it? I thought I saw Chip Roy, who's a wingnut anyways, kind of side with Elon on that. Like, can that lead to more things? I don't know. Again, I don't know. Right now, it's just all entertainment, unfortunately. Good entertainment.
Yeah, it's good entertainment, and it's heartening to see them get. Because here's the thing: it's like there's a base level response to this beyond the effects, beyond what it means for the MAGA cult and the
Right.
remnants of whatever Republican Party still exists, which I
Mhm.
contend is not much at all. Beyond that, it's that here are two people, both of whom I wish nothing but bad on. I wish nothing but ill on them and their whole apparatus. I pray on their downfall, as the kids say. And just to know that they had stressful, annoying days that raised their blood pressure, that made them look bad, that cost them money, that cost them time, that pleases me. That pleases me. We need to start being honest about that. Like,
yes,
the Democrats should be out there saying, I enjoy watching them destroy themselves.
Yeah.
Not posting Taylor Swift songs.
But if Grandpa Chuck was to do that, post the Taylor Swift thing all day, but also to some stuff I think producer Steve said of turn this into action, that would be good. But I don't want to. There's no yucking of the. There's been a lot of good joke tweets, a lot of like, this is like so and so and so and so fighting. This is like Tarkin and Palpatine. Like, it's all working for me, and it's all, like you said, gumming up the machine a little bit. And Turbo 1975, great year. I wasn't born yet. Meanwhile, in Australia, a few years back, a politician resigned as if he got to declare a gift donation for $3,000 bottle of Penfolds Crown. That's it's produced. Producer Steve is yelling today like I yell at him about polo shirts. And
what's your issue with polo shirts?
I'm not. You know what? I've decided I've offended all my blathering audience.
Okay.
I don't like polo shirts, and no man of a certain age or look should own polo shirts, and I stand by it. And the blathering audience has rejected me over it.
Is there a exemption for golfers?
I golf. I have one polo shirt just in case I need one on the course. But as I said yesterday, that's usually a course rule, and usually these country clubs have a history of not letting black people into play or women. So should we follow those rules too? No. Don't wear a polo shirt when you're golfing.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I'm not. I don't have a strong take, but I was just curious because I know that it is usually the attire there, but I didn't think about it being required. But that's the same thing, It's just like that's like biblical shit, right? Like when people are like, "Oh, well, the Bible says it." Well, it also says a lot of other shit. Deuteronomy says that if you get with a woman who was, not a virgin when you got with her, you could throw her into the street and stone her. So it's like, bring that back.
Steve points out I did play the race card on him. Yeah, I keep saying polo shirts and cargo shorts are bad, and a lot of my audience says, but I wear them, and I'm like, I rest my case. They look bad. Stop.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go into it.
And it's we all have our things. Like, I'm anti Crocs until the day I die. I am vigorously anti-Crocs.
Same. I'm anti-Crocs.
And if you're about to go into the chat and be like, well, I wear Crocs, well, yeah, okay. You should not.
Keep wearing Crocs, but I'm not,
don't. I'm not even going to give you like the benevolent, like, wear what you want. Wear what you... No, they suck. They suck. They suck, and we should eradicate
producer Steve, well, don't get it twisted. Anyways, I'm done. I just feel bad. I'm starting to unveil. Alden, I'm in a weird period, and we can still talk about whatever the fuck you want.
Sure.
And I'll make fun of Elon all day getting punched by a beta and taking damage from a beta. And I want President Shitty Pants I want it all to come up. We can talk. I'm in a period of time where I'm starting to become my true self again, and it's been really exciting. But I think it's been a little abrasive for the blathering, maybe the Anytime audience.
I love this whole, like, I'm starting to become my true self again as you frolic outdoors and feed the squirrels. Your true self is a Disney princess, as I've said. That's what we've learned about you. You somehow exist between like 80s rocker and like Belle. Like, it's like somewhere in there is the Ken Knapsack ethos.
Okay. I'm having to have people realize I'm a very vain person who hates himself.
Sure.
And it's a weird combination because I hate the way I look, but I'm so vain about it that I want other people to have to swim in that torment.
Swimming in the Torment.
Yeah.
Song title?
Yeah.
I like that. Ken is the third Gallagher brother. Interesting.
Wasn't there? I think isn't there actually a third Gallagher brother? Just like there's a third Manning, Peyton Eli, and the guy who didn't play quarterback. Yeah.
There's a third Manning? I didn't know that.
There is.
Tully Quinn, Crocs and toe shoes forever. Tully Quinn, you don't believe this. Don't do this. This is just to rile me up. This is not a real comment. AI wrote this. This is not real. This is not real. Crocs forever? Jesus. Svetnik says, so you could say you're coming home to yourself. You owe us $5 for that. All Star Wars. All Star Wars talk. $5 tariffs. Lauren Romo says Knapsack wears Crocs in Fortnite.
Yeah, that because it's not real. Not real. Because I get to mock them. And that's the thing is Crocs and toe shoes means you are not concerned, Tully, about a natural disaster or emergency and your reactions following them. You can't run in those long distances or to safety, or you can't fight anyone. You have to use your hands a lot. Are you good with your hands in a fight? Because I'm not good with my hands. I am good with a knee to the gut or a foot to the balls. So I can't do that in Crocs.
Yeah, no.
Although when I walk into a room, this is true. When I go to a restaurant, I look for the escape routes. I look for problems. I look for who might have a gun. Every restaurant I go into, you can't do that in Crocs.
Yeah. See, well, thank you, Ospennik, for being a man of honor. That wasn't a question, Alden, but whatever. Here you go. Look, it's the economy and or tariff. You didn't even ask a question, Cameron Stewart. You could have asked a question. All I'm asking is $5 per Star Wars answer. But you know, I deliver. That's the thing. I'll give you a great answer. I'm just saying. So you put.
I'm having fun.
So my understanding is that you put Crocs on Lady Gaga. Then that's kind of not really good.
I put Crocs on all my Fortnite skins that I play in, but I also have shoes. I also have like bunny slippers or shark slippers or something in the game. Because it's a game.
All right. So I've only played a couple times. I know that I haven't coordinated yet with you and Plume and Romo and everybody. I've only been jumping in when Scotty's been online and everything. But I'm also not good. So it's like you wouldn't want me there anyway. I would ruin your perfect ratio of for every 5 games you get two victories. Like I definitely would drag you down. Although I did have a really I had a really clutch moment the other night that like 4 or 5 people witnessed, where I got to revive the whole team and everything, and it was very satisfying. But
that's good.
It was funny. I have not spent money in the game. Well, that's not true. I did buy the pass because I wanted to get the Poe Damerons. But I only have the
best looking Oscar Isaac they've ever made, figures or otherwise.
The best, yeah, best adaptation of his face, yeah, including toys, including Resistance. Like, actually looks like him. So I have Black Chrysanthemum and I have Poe, and I cannot imagine myself putting shoes on the. This is probably just the action figure brain, right? Like I don't like he has the look already. You know what I mean? Like
I'm right there with you. I didn't buy the shoe when they brought in shoes to Fortnite. I didn't buy the shoes for a while. Then I thought I was in a weird mood, and the shark slippers seemed funny. And then Lauren goddamn Romo gifted me the Crocs because she knows I hate Crocs, and I was like, God damn it. But then I put them on, and it was kind of funny. But now I have some like Air Jordans or something, and they kind of go with my outfits. I think Plume said I coordinate because I'm with you. I play Wingman mostly, which is like a season 1 or 2 character, because he looks like a G.I. Joe action figure, and that looks to me most realistic to play in the game.
Plume is calling bullshit on Alden and Fortnite. What, you don't believe that I play it? Well, you know what? That's fine.
He doesn't believe that you're bad. I think maybe that's what he's saying.
He doesn't believe that I'm bad? No, I'm bad.
Yeah.
I'm bad. I think like the most kills I've gotten in a match so far is 6.
But we Plume and I win matches where we collectively have 1 elimination.
That's true. I guess it is the hide.
It's not all. Sometimes the amount of eliminations is not equal to the amount of wins. But there's different ways to play. Some days I like to hot drop and go fist fight.
No.
Welcome to Fortnite Center.
Yeah, we were dropping in on Vader the other night and playing that a little bit before the Star Wars stuff's over, because I guess the event is coming that's going to end it with the Death Star. Like we have to take tomorrow, the Death Star.
I'm gonna try to play. Turbo drops in that's hard for me because I was around when they really came into style, And so they were cool and hip at one point. I wouldn't wear them, but like all the girls had them. And then my friend Hayes had a good joke about the Ugg boots sound like what you sound like when you wear them. Ugh, great joke. It played very well in 2005. But yeah, it's fine. You could turn those into a look. It's all about the looks with me and the aesthetic, Alden.
That's a good point. Is that like certain people have the aura to just pull off most things?
Yeah. What changed? What changed a lot with me in the last 5 years is you need to have some sort of perspective in your outfits, and they need to be outfits. I never put anything on to go to a show. Now I went to the grocery store yesterday in like workout pants. Like, do what you will. But if you're going to a show, if you're going out, there has to be some intentionality in how you dress, and I don't accept anything less from people. That's the problem.
Our intention, because last time I saw you was when I was in LA the weekend of May the 4th, and we were at the Comedy Store, and then we went to the museum, and both days we wore all black with black denim jackets. And at one point at the Comedy Store, me, you, and Nikki all wore these dark outfits with dark denim, and I stood there and I was like, we look like a fucking band. So it's like I don't know what the intention there was.
It's just having a perspective. I'm not a fashion. I wish I was a fashion plate. I'm too fucking fat and stumpy to be a fashion plate. It isn't about being a fashion plate. It's just not about. It's about not giving up.
Who would you say is the most fashionable person you know?
In my friend circle, male side.
Anyone who comes to mind, like who is like.
I mean, Grace was the most fat. Grace. A lot of this comes from Grace. Grace was never said, "Get rid of your polo shirts," but it was very clear that I shan't be wearing them. And
was it more in the tone? It was in the air.
It was in the air. But no, she is probably the most fashionable in terms of an aesthetic. In terms of men, in my life, Matt Key. Matt Key is he's a walking, talking professor of geek, and he's the most fashionable one.
Handsome guy.
Yeah,
handsome guy, Matt Key. You, Matt Key, all you guys that can grow like your salt and pepper beards and everything. I'm jealous of you because I'll never have that.
I couldn't grow when I was in my late 20s. I had an Abe Lincoln. I couldn't grow anything past like this line here.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Maybe my body.
And when you get there, Alden, maybe you'll understand alpha males fighting at a high level in public.
High agency. We're high agency. And anytime we are two high agency guys talking about Ugg boots, that's where it goes. Again, guys, I said in the comments, we are open now. This is like
open forum questions. I gotta check while you're getting questions. I gotta check if that package is being delivered. There's a weird. I might have to jump off
for a package
and sign. No, they're not out there yet.
Ken's got to sign for a package, guys. I want questions and I want theories on what Ken ordered that he needs to sign for.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, it's medical related. I don't want anyone to think I'm living the high life. I just got to sign for something. I'm in a lot of pain. Lately. So,
Scotty says there's a difference between being consciously fashionable and naturally fashionable. That's interesting. I could see what you mean. Like there are people that it just comes to without effort, and then there are other people where you can tell it's a project. And neither is less valid.
I'd like to hear more on that. I like that. I'm neither, but I have to. I have to turn that on. I am vain, a vain person who hates himself, but I'm convinced every time I walk into a room that everyone is staring at me and judging me. So I have to live up to their expectations. And
that is a very, very like 20 somethings now concern. You're ahead of your time in that way. Like, because our impression of Gen X is that all of you are like, you just don't care, which I guess is sort of the Gen X reputation.
But that was a look, right? That was a look.
Yeah.
That was a cultivated look.
To not care. But you guys have that vibe too. But you're describing a sort of like fear of being perceived that is very modern. That's a very like us thing. That's huge. Okay.
See, I'm trying. Yeah. I failed Alden a lot on my generational crossover and my generational exchange, but I do acknowledge I'm trying my best to move forward, and that maybe that's an area.
Yeah. Let's see here. Coop says, Ken, that sounds like anxiety. Well,
No, yeah, I know. I'm not an anxious person, and I actually have a lot of problems with people in my life who are too anxious. I get really annoyed with them fast. It's vain. I literally think everyone is. I am the Carly Simon song. When I walk into a Schmodown taping, I know you're all looking at me, and so therefore I've got to walk and talk like as if TMZ is recording me, and no one is. No one gives a shit. So I don't know if that's anxiety or I'm having a psychotic breakdown this month.
Could be both. Could be both. They could be related to each other. Svetnik says, Ken and Alden, thoughts on the new James Bond game trailer? Are you Bond fans? Bond game fans? Yeah, that's a 007 First Light. I don't know if you watched this trailer.
I didn't see the trailers. I know it's Summer Game Fest today.
Yeah, Summer Games Fest. The James Bond trailer came out yesterday. It's called 007 First Light, first James Bond game in a long time.
I'm interested.
It is the Bond origin of him sort of like being brought into the 00 program. It looks like it's a mixture of movie. It uses like some movie score, but it also has some book stuff. Charlie Ashby was telling me all about it because he's obviously being a British stereotype. He of course knows everything about this character. He's like, he's got the scar on his cheek. That's from the books. He's got the scar.
That's from the second book, then, eh?
He's got
Alrighty then, James. Won't you have a martini? Yeah.
All of you Americans are wondering why he's got the scar because Daniel Craig doesn't have the scar, but it's in the books.
It's been a while since we made fun of Charles Worthington Merson Ashby IV.
Worthington.
Charlie's one of my favorites. I have to say, but I am a Bond fan in the sense that the Daniel Craig Bonds brought me into the franchise. Before that, I hadn't really enjoyed it, or I don't think I even watched one other than the first Pierce Brosnan, the first two Pierce Brosnan ones. But at GoldenEye, as one of the greatest games of all time, I have a Nintendo 64 out in my living room with GoldenEye in it. So maybe I'll fire that up while I wait to get this new game.
Yeah, I'm similar. I am a casual Bond fan. I have not seen all 26 films, but I've seen all the Pierces, all the Daniel Craigs, a couple of the Connerys, and maybe one of the Timothy Daltons, but I couldn't tell you which one. Like it's so I'm just kind of bounced around. But the game, GoldenEye is legendary. I have good memories of that on the N64. I'm excited for the game. It looks like it's very complete, and what I mean by that is that it's not just a shooter, it's not just stealth, it's everything. Like there's stuff in the trailer of you by the pool getting a drink, there's the shooting, there's the driving, there's the stunts. Like
okay, I'm gonna take a look at this trailer.
Hang it upside down. Like it looks very fun, and it's got like some actors in it that are like body scans, so it's just the actors. So you got like Lenny James is in it as his mentor, and like it'll be cool to see. He doesn't wear the tuxedo or a suit in it, which makes me think
damn it, does he wear a polo? By the way, Daniel Craig's one of the only people who can pull off polo shirts in Casino Royale.
That's an interesting
If
point.
you could look like him in a polo shirt, you can wear a polo shirt. That's my rule. Like I just made up that rule.
Daniel Craig pulled Rachel Weisz, so he can wear whatever he wants, whenever he wants, forever.
Can someone find out if Emilia Clarke likes men in polo shirts? That will be the final determination for me.
Somebody Google Emilia Clarke paparazzi and tell me what guys come up. I know she dated Matt Smith for a hot second. Maybe he wore one. And someone do that research.
Yeah.
Someone help us. Ken Plume says Bond is wearing
Crocs. I'm out.
I'm going to check out the game.
Did you say it has first person? Because I'm really bad
at
first
person. Third person.
Okay, because so I know that the Indiana Jones game is finally on the PS5. I don't have the allowance money to buy it, but I was looking at it yesterday, and I forgot like a lot of the games are first person. I'm really bad at it. I don't have those skills. So
I'm glad you brought that up because this is an old rant that I didn't get to do on air. And it's not serious. No disrespect to anybody that worked on the game. I heard the Indiana Jones game's great. Like it's like so.
Oh, I've heard it's great. I heard it's great.
I'm excited. I'm excited to eventually play it. Maybe I'll pick it up on sale. But I cannot, for the life of me, understand the decision of making that character a first-person game because not only are guns not his primary method of combat, he'll use one. But like, what? So basically, most of the game is this, and it's like. I just don't understand that. I want to see him. I'm a fan of him. I'm not a fan of brawling in the 40s. I want to see him. I want to see Hat. Show Hat.
I love that they're showing out there. It's like, you know what I like? See? Brawling in the 40s. Can we do that game? I want that video game. I want to punch him hard. Hard right in the kisser.
Yeah, like I don't want that. Like I want to see hat. I want to see jacket. I want to see Harrison moving like Harrison. I want to see him getting knocked on his ass. I want to see the size difference between me and big enemies. Like
I
don't
agree.
get that.
I agree.
Do not get that. Indie's on Game Pass. I can get it for free.
I don't do any of that shit. What the fuck is that shit? I don't do any of that shit. Go buy the game. Buy the fucking game, man. Why are we renting other people's shit? Like what are we doing? What are we doing?
Turbo says I'm turning 50 this year, thinking it might be the polo shirt phase. Whoa, you gotta
stop.
No,
you gotta reverse that. You gotta reverse that. I used to dress like an off-duty FBI agent, and at 35, I looked 62. Gotta reverse that, Turbo. Gotta reverse it.
At 35, I look 62. And I've said to you multiple times that you've aged so miraculously. Like I look at the pictures of when we met. It could be yesterday. You have like you stopped. Like you hit a certain Ken and then you just stayed.
I scrub my face every day. In fact, my face is still burning from a peel I did yesterday. Alden, I'm fucking vain, man. You know how many times I look in the mirror and go, this ain't working?
But it's also that you're not problematic, which I've said to you. Like problematic white people, look at how they age. Look at Stephen Miller, who's probably like 10 years younger than you. Like
I might be entering my problematic phase.
Oh, okay. We're circling back now to problematic. You're so unproblematic that you can get some, you can afford some later.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think people realize how thirsty I am too. That's part of the problem.
Look, we could do another hour on how thirsty I am. It's been a
we know, drought, but I think I've hid mine for 12 years because I was smart enough to know when Schmoes launched that I don't want to be an a-hole, and I'm on the right side of history. I try to be in terms of social issues and stuff, but I'm also just a horny little bastard.
Yeah, man. I just had about 20 thoughts run through my head.
We need to have this conversation, Alden, because I see some of you and your pals are you're there, man. You're ahead of me on like I'm still over here like I don't know if Tim Walz is the guy, and he is, by the way. But like, and you're over here like, no, fucker, he is. Call him weird. But then you're like, and Dua Lipa shakes her hips. And I don't know what to do with it, Alden.
Yeah.
Where's the line? Are you told? Do you cross it? Go into this? Explain this to me.
I think that the line is just like express. This is the easiest way. If I had to like Don Draper it and get it down to like a one sentence, it would be this. I don't have a cigarette with me, but it would be. Oh, here's a pen. It would be express admiration, not desire.
Oh, that's a good line. I like
that.
I get that.
That's what it is. It's like because it's like Dua Lipa might be the single greatest thing ever put on this planet, and like and that includes everyone, maybe except my wonderful dog Mando. But it's just like that. They're like I would sell out the human race to ensure her safety if we were ever invaded or anything like that.
I think what you just touched upon there makes total sense. I'm being really fucking serious with this. Like, I'm talking, a lot of. I'm not going to out names. A lot of it might be in the chat. But what you just said is the reason. My generation older, or just actually, let's not just say it's generational. There's a lot of young men out there who probably do this. Where in this case, and I'm speaking from generally here the straight perspective. So I apologize. I know there's an entire world of perspectives, but from my perspective, where it's like we have been taught and raised to see women as land to conquer. Yes. And so a lot of times I come from the Maxim generation. I had subscriptions to Maxim, For Him magazine, and one other fucking dumb magazine. I had all those subscriptions. Yeah, I was there during that time. It's the 20th anniversary of the Pussycat Dolls, Don't You? I think I saw that this week, and I was watching. The video came up on Instagram, and I was like laughing. I was like, "What a fucking time that was!" Like that's 20 what it years? Was. Yeah, and it's like that was the time. That's when the low-rise jeans, everything, and I kind of became a man in that era where you're taught to conquest, you're taught to conquer, you're taught to win, and I think now. But now sexual desire is real, sexual attractiveness is real. You're drawn, and now what you're talking about, admiration versus desire. I get that. You blew my brain. That's the thing,
and it's not that desire is not there. It's like we're realistic. Yes. We're red-blooded, hearts thumping. Like that's part of it.
Red-blooded American males.
high agency
High
male.
agency males. We're just fighting online.
But
That's what
it's
men
like-
do. Have you ever seen two lions in one cage?
With big testes, big testy lines,
Big low hanging testes. Now watch this drive.
God, I wish W had Twitter. Why is it that of all the morons, he's the one person that never got an account? Like, it's like
He's
he
just
would
in
be
there
so
painting
funny
his
on it.
pictures, Alden. He's painting his pictures of all the people
You're like-
he sent to die.
I painted a picture of Trump and Elon getting along because I believe
I want them
in
to get
friendship.
along. I want them to get along.
But yeah, so like I think that's what it is. Like, and I didn't think of it that way until you asked me. But I think that is sort of what it is. And like I think about, like I've always had more women in my friend group than guys, probably just because I was brought up by two women. But like I have always had like strong friendships with women. Like if I ever get married, I know there's going to be one groomswoman. I've said that on the show. Like my friend Gabby will be definitely one of my people. And like. But like,
don't include me in that shit, okay? I mean, on your team. I want to go. I just want to go dance and drink, okay?
You will be on the clock, whether it's officiating or something. You will be on the clock.
Damn it! Mark Ellis's rates are much better.
Sorry, Mark Ellis's rates. And then I'll curveball you and be like, how much extra to get Ken to do something? But yeah, I think like with that has always been like I remember being in high school and like having, straight women friends. Like it was just maybe it's also like the theater kidness of it. I don't know, but like there was always like a line that was like we were good at establishing that, right? Like I have a friend who shall remain nameless, where it's just like I can't even tell you the amount of times that I've seen her like topless, but it's like and she was straight and I was straight, but like we were friends, yeah, Scotty, and we were friends and like. It was just like we understood that it was not that. And I think I've sort of carried that mentality forward a little bit where it's like, I think that you can have admiration and express a compliment and tell your friend that they're attractive and just like do that in a way that is very honest. Like you can, it's also okay sometimes to get like, it's going to sound heavy and weird, but like you can get consent to like give a compliment. Like sometimes I've done that too with people where I'm just like, how are you with taking compliments? And they'll say good or bad. And if they say bad, great. And if they say good, I'll just be like, you are, wearing that dress like you're doing it a favor, to borrow a crazy, stupid line.
Okay.
Crazy,
Yeah,
stupid love line.
Okay.
Like, like, it's just like, with someone like
I'm a little more rougher than that. Like I have some female
depending
friends
on how many drinks are in.
Well, yeah. If she's single and we're going to a bar and she's like kind of not on the prowl, but just like I need someone in my life. I'm like, hey, you look great tonight. Let's go in there and find a guy to wear her ass like a hat. Like that's me. That's my.
Like a hat.
I'm wondering if that's wrong. That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if it's wrong.
But what kind of friendship do you have with that person, right? Like that's the answer. It's a cop out. It depends. But like when it comes to like the celebrity like horniness of it all, I think that like we came up in an era too that is so, and maybe Molly's here. Molly, you got an LOL.
Shit, Molly's. I see. Molly's here now. I'm gonna overstep my bounds or something.
Molly, Molly may have even touched the nipple. I love that just out of context. Look, I got an LOL out of Romo too. So okay, see, that's playing. It's playing. That did not bomb. It's hard to know if you bombed until the chat responds.
But it's who I am. This is what I'm saying this week on Blathering. I put on a show. Yes, I sung and danced, but I want people to see a little bit more than me because I think I've been buttoned up on Force Center for 11 years with Collider, and that's the guy you all knew. And I'm like, I will be at ask Jen Muro, man. We flirt all the time in a friendly manner. She's with a happy relationship, but I'll be like, you look great today. Let's go get you fucking laid. Like I'm like, I don't know if this circle is ready for that. I've seen how you are, and I'm like, I wonder how he does that. How does Alden balance the socially engaged, responsible, right side of history approach that you are, and I look up to you for that. Even when I push back on some things with you, I'm like, I do it out of I really look up to where you are and how do I get there or how do I understand it better. But also at the same time, I can guarantee that you're going to post a picture of Dua Lipa and go, yay. And I'm just like, this is an impressive balance.
This is part of it. And anybody who's in my age group, especially the dudes, feel free to chime in on this because it's something else that's dawning on me now. I think that we saw your age group, and not you, or just, but you know what I mean. Like, you've touched on it with comedy too, of like how comedy was in the 2000s, things like that. I think that we saw older guys before we knew the word cringe to describe it being so fucking cringe.
Right. Yes.
That we were like, we can't be that. So it's like, I don't, ever want to go online and be like, man, Dua Lipa, look at that ass, look at that blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Because that to me is off-putting and stupid. I don't like it.
Agreed.
As a man who has to hear it, I don't like it. And then you add in all the real stuff about objectification. So it's like, it has I already think you sound like a fucking moron. Then we look at the world. And so then it's like, my approach is, like I said this in a chat the other day, Scotty brought up Dua Lipa, and my response wasn't, wow, I want her to fuck my brains out until I have a heart attack, although that might be the subtext. What I said was, we should be building marble statues of that woman in every city. It's like, it's like,
yes.
Yeah, like the admiration thing is a thing. Like, it's just like, and Molly said it here in the comments too, like, you're supporting the happiness of others, you're in their corner. Like, like wing manning is not a gendered thing, is the other thing too. It sounds like it is because it uses a gendered term, but it's just like I know that when I go to Atlanta, Molly and I are going to put our suits on, and then we're going to go pick up divorcees, and then I'll get to indulge and she won't, because she's a sucker and she's married, and I did not fall into that trap. I'm kidding. Yeah. Marriage is not a trap.
That you know of. Okay. I'm enjoying this conversation. I hope it is resonating with people, because this is real, and you touched upon something about the cringe in my generation, and I keep saying my generation. There's men younger than me cringe right now.
Many,
but it is I have that philosophy from sports of act like you've been there before, right?
Yeah.
And there was one. I'm just gonna be frank. Can I just be frank? I've been frank already. There was one particular moment. On the way out of my security career, I didn't like where my locker room, so to speak, was getting with all. I actually received marks from my company for hiring the most amount of female officers, and we had a very diverse staff. I do believe your law enforcement or your public safety staff should kind of reflect the community they're in, and blah blah blah. Serious.
Woke knapsack over here.
Yeah, but that was even me when I was less that, and just like, it just made sense to me. And I had a really good boss who was from England who agreed with me on this and everything. But so I didn't like, my assistant director left. He's now a detective in a police department locally here. And there was just an attitude behind a lot of the guys. I was not liking him. So I changed it up, and I went and I hired a woman. I hired a wonderful, very talented assistant security director from Brazil who still lives over here and had been over here in America for 20 years. Also happened to be really pretty, but I had interviewed her before. I really liked I just liked her energy, so I hired her. And there was a moment, there was a guy working with me who was older. He was a retired police officer, worked with us on our canine unit, and she was bending over, and he was like nudging me. He's like, hey, right. And that was the moment I was like, enough of this shit.
You're a loser.
Enough of this
shit.
Shit.
Like, it clicks in your brain where you're like, oh, that's loser behavior.
That human being drops something that's picking up, and you assume that's some sort of invitation for you to be sexual. Act like you've fucking been there before. And I think I've carried that moment forward, where I've tried to distance myself from just human emotion, or supporting, as Molly says, my friends, or just acknowledging that, Alden, you're a beautiful man too. You're so cute. I'd pinch those cheeks. And that's part of I don't want to bottle up all my energy for fear of being that guy.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's where you express it in a way that is supportive, fun, has admiration to it, has comedy to it, is, I'm on your team. Like, it's the friend that I referenced that I've known, we've known each other since we were in the second grade. And so by the time it's in high school, there's like such a comfort there. And take a shirt off, change in front of me and things like that. And it would always just be like this, like there was a comedy to it of that sort of intimacy that's not really intimate, that's kind of stupid and young in high school. But it's like, if guys ever said anything about you know, her boobs or whatever, like I would just be like, you fucking moron. Admire them. You know, like
or just
like,
shut up. Just don't say it. Yeah.
Look like a human being.
Yeah.
And then look
we all
away
acknowledge
like
what's
the rest
going on.
of us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We are
Like,
all
it's just like,
we are all animals with the desire to procreate. Yeah, we get it. You fuck. Yeah. I'm with you.
be a dignified enjoyer. You know, be a woman appreciator or a man appreciator or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because it's just the someone said that we're a horrible channel. Is that because we respect women or not?
Probably.
I'm just curious on what your take is.
Probably.
Donate $5 if you want a Star Wars question. But it's just like, yeah, like I don't
Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Oh man. But have we dubbed him Ken Napcrocs yet? Wow, Bloom, man, that's hurtful, man. I don't know why you'd say that about a friend and a fellow Ken.
No, we're not doing that.
That's brutal.
We're not doing that.
Jared called me out here.
Ken Plum.
Jared from the Nerd Academy podcast said Alden is lying. He says relationships are a prison once a week at least. And you know what? I do say that. Whenever Jared or any of these people talks about their girlfriends or whatever, I'm like, relationships are a prison, man. I don't look.
They are what you make of them, and I am surrounded, fortunately, by a lot of wonderful relationships that have realistic problems in them. I will say that currently, because of my current situation, I have only taken one trash bag out of the trash in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's been nice.
Then how's that going for you?
That's nice.
Nice.
That's nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Cozy prison, says Molly,
Molly
who admitted that Alex married her for her credit score earlier in the chat. So there you go.
Well, you know, Molly knows this, and I would describe Molly as the he said he didn't want pickles meme. Like, you know, like Alex to me is a lover and Molly is a fighter. So it's like, if you see a fighter and she's got good credit, like, it's just like, you know, young Alex, like, what else is he supposed to do?
What is he supposed to do?
Like,
what else is he supposed to do?
That is why Alden fears squatting up in Fortnite. You know what, Plume? Why don't you squat up with me in Marvel Rivals, because I need a team.
I've never felt that great.
Turbo says, I've been married for 20 years. It's never felt.
Yeah, I think it's the way. Yeah, it's the way. It's the way you approach it. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, and I don't think Turbo's wrong. How about that?
More Crocs propaganda is happening.
Now watch this drive.
Well, now watch this drive. Last thoughts on this, I guess. I'm glad you opened it up. It's an interesting topic. Like the how do you?
I just being
it's just I think part of it is that, like, guys are largely trained to mostly just have guy friends, and it becomes like a feedback loop and all that. That's important. Like, that's a takeaway. Admiration things to take away. And just like like, it's so you can just, like, I don't know, like, part of it is that, like, I don't want to pat myself on the back and be like I'm enlightened, because it's like, you know, I have my fucking shit, but like,
no, I'm just saying, it's just we're all not enlightened, we're all moving forward.
But it's just I've never seen, I guess I just fear sounding like a moron, like I fear,
a chud, like an incel.
I don't want to sound like a chud. I don't want anything like that. Like, you know, if it doesn't work out, if you know, things don't work out with Miro and her boyfriend, she wants, you know, a young boyfriend with no assets. Like,
You're making a play. You're making a play. You're like Mo Sizlak in The Simpsons. I'm here to declare my intentions. Okay.
We're back to that, kind of crossing to the Chuck there for a second.
And then let's put a Taylor Swift song. We'll meme it. Can we meme it? Let's post a meme.
Taylor Swift, it's like, like Taylor Swift, you know, I would compliment her as a pop culture presence before I commented on the fact that she has legs that go on for days. Both are true, but it's like, I'm not going to, you know, like, which one do you say?
Not desire. Yeah.
Which one do you say?
Plus, you don't want to get in a fight with Travis Kelce. We might lose that one.
No, unless it's like in, you know, a battle of words and wits, because I'm pretty sure I would win that one. But Knapsack and Plume watch DS9. He's not going to, but I respect that you paid money for it.
I'm using the word rewatched the 9-part docuseries, The Bomb in the Cold War. I rewatched that this week. I binged The Studio in 2 days. I'm currently watching a show called Stick, as I mentioned, with Mark Maron and Owen Wilson. It's okay.
It's okay. Here's what people don't understand.
I'm going to finish that before DS9.
I'm going to break something to your audience that they might not know. This is for all fans of the Blathering, and this is for Pop Rock and Radio, and this show and Force Center. If you are a Ken Napzok fan, I'm going to tell you something that you might not know. This man, you could not waterboard him into watching DS9. And it's not about Star Trek. It's just that I see your fans, I see our listeners, I see people pleading, Ken, when are you going to Ken? And I, as your friend, I know that the more they ask, the further you get away from ever doing it. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen.
I'll repeat the story. A friend of mine goes by Kojak. He occasionally pops up on the YouTube channel. He writes music and he's a video gamer too. We were working security together, and he was like, "Dude, have you seen the movie Fridays?" I was like, "No, I've not seen the movie Fridays." "Have you seen the movie Fridays?" "Have you seen the Friday After Next?" "No, I haven't seen it." He goes, "I'm gonna get you my copy. I'm gonna get you my copy." This is back in the day when you had to actually have a copy of the movie. So I come back to my sergeant's desk one day, and on there is the DVD of Fridays, and I take it and I threw it in the trash, and I went home. Now he found it. I put it right on the top of the trash so people would find it.
Sure.
And he was mad at me because I guess my DVD. I was like, "Yeah, I told you I wasn't going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it." I sat down. Tully's asking a great question. Tully said, "Ken, you were openish to DS9 weeks ago. Now you're strongly opposed. What happened?"
Like you're a politician.
I'll tell you what. Let's play ourselves a William Shatner song. Look, I sat down with a lot more free time on my hand. I want to play a little less Fortnite. I don't want to play video games until my brain falls out and I go to bed. I just want to. So I was like, let me go out to the couch and let me watch something. So I was like, oh, I could watch this or that. And I thought about DS9. And I was like, the truth of the matter is, outside of a couple of movies, which I do enjoy, 4, 6, and 8, I find Star Trek boring. I have to, and that's just me. That's not you. I'm not Star Trek fans out there. Don't get all the flutter. I find it boring. I'm not going to invest, no matter how great the story is, in something that I know will bore me.
Sure.
I went on to other things, and I rewatched The Bomb in the Cold War.
That's how I feel about Avatar: The Way of Water. But at this point, I've made several devil's deals where I am going to watch it before this calendar year is up. But that first movie bored the fuck out of me. I think the characters are paper thin. And I understand that it's a technical marvel. But it's like, I will take an awkward looking, volume production in the Star Wars world where I give a fuck about all those characters versus some of the best water I'll ever see. And I don't give a shit about Jake or his stupid little kids. So it's like, we'll see what happens. Does that mean that Ken will never watch Lion King? No, because there's a on-air contract for that, where if you, Turbo 1975, and Jared Ule, that's how I say your last name in my head. I don't know if it's actually Ule. And Osvetnik and LEQ, if all of you do your part to get 1,000 subs on this channel, I will go to Burbank and we're gonna watch The Lion King. So it's just that there is a path to that, because The Lion King is only 90 minutes of Ken's life. DS9 is hours upon hours.
Yeah, that's another thing too. That's another thing too.
A movie is much easier to get you to. Now, music recommendations, Ken will generally be more receptive.
I'm always yes. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm not a stick in the mud.
If I say, hey, check out this band, usually within an hour you'll have a take.
Yeah, and usually I'm pretty receptive, huh? Has there any been a time where I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Whether or not they fall into my rotations, another conversation.
Now, I will pat myself on the back for this. I'm good at recommending things, just in general.
Okay.
I love to curate. If someone says I need movies, I will literally be like, okay, what do you like? Let's start here. Even with Star Wars, if people are like, where do I start in Star Wars? I'm done. I'm done with watch order. I'm done with watch order. For that. Yeah. Oh, that's true. I'm gonna. Sorry. You got to pay for the rest of that answer.
Molly says, "This is how I feel about Doctor Who. I'm just not interested." Same. Just not.
Yeah, and I love Doctor Who, but I'm also not obtuse enough to think I can recommend it to everybody because it's so specific, right? Like Doctor Who is kind of like pistachio ice cream in that way, where it's like you can't just be like, "Guys, I got pistachio for the party." It's like, what? You can't.
It's like assholes who have coconut cake at their wedding. What are you doing?
Yeah, like
no one likes coconut.
Tom Cruise has the famous coconut cake that if you're in one of his casts or one of his directors or whatever, his friends. He sends a coconut cake out every year.
That's the weirdest thing he does. It's the weirdest thing he does.
Yeah, that's weirder than even some of the other stuff.
Yeah, he praises an alien.
He praises an alien. Yeah. Matthew sources the fandom. I'm trying to think if there was some last minute questions that did come in. Okay, so Scotty Jero asked thoughts on Nick Jonas as Paul Stanley. Okay, so did you see this?
No, what is this?
So like many musicians, Kiss is finally getting their biopic done about them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so there's a Kiss movie coming out being directed by Mick G, who did Charlie's Angels and
Mick
other
G!
things.
He's behind the camera, Mick G!
Yes, the very same Mick G from Terminator Salvation. And he also, I guess, comes from music videos and everything.
Yes.
So he's doing a Kiss film. The first thing I will say is we could play a quick little game here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these music biopics use either a lyric or a song title as the name. Rocket Man, Walk the Line.
Man.
What do you think they're calling the Kiss biopic? I know the answer.
Worth a Deuce.
It's not called Worth a Deuce.
Well, then what the fuck are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing here?
They're calling this movie Shout It Out Loud, which I guess is okay.
All right.
That's okay. It's not what I would have gone with, but I think it's pretty good.
All right.
So they're calling it Shout It Out Loud.
Why? It's not called Beth, I Hear You Calling? Fuck.
No, it's not called Beth, I Hear You Calling. It's not called Hard Luck Woman. Me
and the Boys would be playing? Like, come on.
Okay. It's not called God of Thunder, Rob You of Your Virgin Soul.
No. So is Nick Jonas?
And Nick Jonas was announced as playing Paul Stanley. That's a new announcement.
I'm so far removed from movie news. It's great. Okay. I don't know. I don't have a negative opinion. I'm not immediately reacting to Nick Jonas like I do polo shirts. Like the Jonas Brothers can exist. I'm following it a little bit. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough cast.
They're tough people to no disrespect to Ace and Peter. They will be easier to cast for having more subdued personalities, I think.
How dare you insult the Catman like that?
Gene will be an absurd person to try to cast. Nick Jonas as Paul. I don't know if Nick has the sauce. He's obviously no stranger to showmanship and being a rock star, but you got to be animated. You need to be animated for these.
Yeah. I disagree with Jared Willett. Jared the Ted Pilot. No one wants to be Peter Criss, not even Peter Criss. I think you should cast Nick Jonas and blankety blank and blankety blank and cast Peter Criss as Peter Criss present day and don't change him at all. Just play it as if it's normal.
No de-aging.
Just have an elderly drummer in this biopic of the formation of the band.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what it'll be. It's about their rise, early days. I don't know if they're going to be like
fascinating
chapter 1,
stuff.
Wicked Lester.
The rise of Kiss is fascinating. It's a great story. It's a great story.
I've read all of their individual biopics except Peter's if he has one. I've done I did the Ace one first. I read the Paul's book. I read Gene's book. And I've watched all the docs. I have all the Kissologies. Me, Scotty Jero, we're big Kiss guys. You to a certain degree, Billy Patterson as well. So it's like we got some Kiss love in our larger friend group, and I'm excited to see where it goes because I feel like out of a lot of the bands that have already gotten one, like it surprises me that this took as long. A, because of their love of being a brand, and B, because they have a cinematic quality that most bands don't.
I mean, look,
feels natural.
There is already one documentary biopic film out there, Kiss and the Phantom of the Park. Like that's 100% true. That's a true story.
That's a true story.
It happened up in Magic Mountain. So I think that's good. No, but I think there's the amount of control that's probably on it too. It's gonna be it's gonna be Gene and Peter. It's gonna be fascinating. You're gonna hear stories, much like the Queen movie was. What if we were to move Freddie Mercury's story from the film? I would think. All right. I'm on board. I'm on board, Scotty.
Yeah, so that's in the pipeline of music. There was also the Madonna film with Julia Gardner, which Madonna put on the shelf while she did other stuff. There's the Michael movie, which is going to come out in 2026, which I'm sure all the world will be very interested to see how they portray him in that. Being played by his nephew, I think Jermaine's kid, one of their kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's gonna be another. That's the thing is that real quick thing on biopics. I know we had to get out of here soon, but like people love every single time there's a biopic to be like, who asked for this? Why do we have so many biopics? What the fucking? They're all the same awards bait. You want to know why we have so many of them? Because so many of them are so fucking good.
Yeah,
it's like we act like this is a dead genre. I put together a letterbox list that has about 30 that I'll swear by. Biopics, rip
that's very good.
all the time. I'm talking. What's love got to do with it? I'm talking Amadeus. I'm talking Walk the Line. I'm talking Complete Unknown from last year. Excellent. I'm talking I'm talking Man on the Moon, which as you and I texted about that recently, like mostly fiction, sure, mostly but still fantastic. Like,
Oh,
like I don't need accuracy.
Tully's right. Oh, you got the Beatles movie coming out. I'm there for it. I'm with you on it too. I do it. I'm more likely I'm just going to watch a doc, but
Walk Hard.
I did love it. Walk Hard. Yeah, that's true.
The Doors.
I mean, famously The Doors. I mean, there. And I told you I finally watched Reitman's Saturday Night. I liked it. I liked it like that. I liked it.
Your bar for that I think was always going to be a little bit higher than mine.
Could be.
Just being very close to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That might have been. But it was good. A lot of the performances were great. A lot of the moments were great. Like I Up in the Air by Reitman's one of my favorite movies. Is it a Ken defining film? To be clear. So there you go.
I'm looking at my list here real quick. Moneyball biopic. Capote. Oppenheimer. First Man. Ray. Chaplin. The Iron Claw about the Von Erichs.
Didn't watch that.
Oh, it's exactly what you think it is. It's depressing.
Yeah, that might be it. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, The Imitation Game, Catch Me If You Can, Priscilla. So don't tell me that biopics don't have the sauce. They do.
I agree with you. You get no fight for me on this episode of Movie Talk.
I don't want anyone to make the George Lucas one until you and I can write it. I think I want to write the George one so bad.
It's going to be all fake. He dies in that car accident, but returns in 1977.
My George one starts with the car crash, and then we cut, and it's like he's got panic attacks on the set, and like we're moving around. Like I have a whole vision for the George one.
Okay,
I have a whole vision.
All right, Scotty wants a Rick McCallum one, which means it's time to get out of here.
Do we have anything last minute? I don't think we do. I think we do. We did ignore Super Chat.
Oh yeah, producer Steve had one. Oh, we got to get to this one.
He paid for a Star Wars question.
He was generous. Steve was very generous. He's too generous. For StreamYard Overlords, favorite Star Wars game, have to pick one. Apologies if you've asked this 3 times. I think I've been asked this a lot, but I change my answer every time. It might be the story mode in Battlefront 2. I have to be specific. I do love Battlefront 2. I love the Battlefront games. They do get repetitive. Especially the more I play Fortnite. I wish there was more of a Star Wars version of that. And hey, there's Star Wars Fortnite right now. But I wish it was just all Star Wars. But I can live in that story. I love the character of Iden Versio. I love that time period. I love that era just as a fan. That 2014, 2015, 2016, 17 range is solid. So I'll go there with that one.
I am going to say for honorable mention for Outlaws, because Outlaws is my favorite of the new ones. I like Outlaws.
Yeah.
Controversially, I like it more than I like either of the Jedi games. I know that
the Jedi games don't vibe with me, and I've admitted that publicly. And Alex and I have fist fought over it, but it's fine.
Yeah, I like Outlaws, but my all timer is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic 2, baby, 2 : The Sith Lords.
Never touched it.
That game's story, I think, is one of the best written things in all of Legends by a mile. Those characters are deliciously complex. There's so much heart. The relationships that you can form, the dialogue. It has a dreadful tone to it, but as you can like inspire people. And there's also a character named the Handmaiden. And then if you develop a relationship with her, you find out that her real name is Brianna. And is that really a Star Wars name? Not really. But she's so cool that you forgive it. And it's just that game. I have so many good memories of it. It also has Darth Sion, the scariest of the Sith Lords.
Is that his full name? I'm Darth Sion, the scariest of the Sith Lords.
The scariest of the Sith Lords. The scariest of the Sith Lords in and of itself could be a Legends book.
Okay.
Scotty
say, yeah,
you need and or the game for mobile phones.
Never touched Knights of the Old Republic. Not once. So take your word on it. Yeah, Jared TIE Pilot did mention the TIE game that came out in the mid '90s. TIE Pilot, that was a good game. I enjoyed that one a lot. I enjoy Outlaws. I still touch it every now and then. I do like it a lot. But it's tough. Yeah, I'm at B+ level on it. It gets a little repetitive for me too. Where I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over and over.
Outlaws. By the time I finished it, I realized, oh, the story kind of like lost its momentum sometimes, and then I was like, or did I do that? Like, did I become too much of a side quest guy and take the thrust out of it? Like, I want to do a run of Outlaws where I only do story missions, because I do think the story is fun and interesting.
Yeah, no, I love playing the Castle Sabacc was my favorite thing. I love exploring that speeder. That speeder's horrendous. That speeder mechanic. Horrendous. I just think the thing, as a cliche Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 fan, when you sell me as something that's open world and I can't steal another speeder from someone, or I can't talk to every person or just punch them, I felt a little cheated by that. But it was good.
Yeah, indeed. So there you go. You paid for Star Wars.
There you go, Steve. You paid for that. Yeah, lump. All right. Are we out of here?
I think so.
Interesting episode. I apologize to all that I've offended. I'm going to have to do a big apology on Monday's blathering.
Except Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I hope you guys kill each other.
We'll see you next week. Bye.